So last go around, we went down the road of guide coating, what that's all about, what that shows us, and that tells us what areas that we need to fix. So great, we figured out our bad spots, so what do we do to fix them? That's what we're gonna get in here today. I'm gonna show you what I have found to be the quickest, most efficient way to get us to the next step of body working, because I'll stretch it, I guess, laying it all out there. I don't like doing body work. It's a messy job. I've been very busy. I'll give you a quick recap, but I didn't touch the quarter panel on the door. I wanted to say that for you to show you how to go about what we're gonna get into here today. See, now I've been very busy. Anybody who says they like doing body work, please come over here and do this for me. But this hood was coming to find out media blasted somewhere in its life, and it had all the perfect indentions of the inner frame between the structure. So it's taken a lot of finesse to get it dialed back in. Driver's side fender not too far off. Passenger side fender isn't that bad. You see a few little spots where I filled it in. So this is all done into 80 grit. I hit it with my black guide coat. That's kind of where I want to get today on the panels we messed with on the last go around. Like I said, the guide coat we're using kind of a grayish color. You can see where it didn't actually cut. This is where we sanded off. This is where it did. So this is a low spot now on this door. Now it's pretty minor, but it will show up, especially if you paint your car a dark color. So we're going to get into how we're going to fill that in. And then these little dents back here, I got a little dink there. Not really dent, but just a low spot. That's why we block it out. We can find it. I don't really feel them, but the guide coat tells us more of the story. So they're actually in need of some repair. Now, that's what we're going to get into going about, I guess, what's the best way to approach this. Now, this has a bit of paint on it. Now, we scuffed the entire panel before we blocked it. That way, when we put our guide coat on, it would actually stick, and then I don't have to worry about it. But this is actually paint. So now that I know where the spots are at, I'm going to go ahead and scuff it. That way, it is actually keyed up in case that paint doesn't want to actually hold any of our body filler, because we're not putting a lot of body filler on here. We're only going to put just enough to fill this in. This is only a couple of sheets of paper thick. That's all it's going to need for filler, so we don't need a whole lot. So I don't want any problem where it's not going to bond. So I don't want to necessarily remove our telltale sign of all of our guide coat, but I definitely want to scuff up the areas that we're going to be adding some filler to. So I'll go ahead and get that all done, and then we'll get this wiped down and ready to put some filler on. Got that all scuffed. Now, some people feel that wiping it down with a rag or blowing off compressed air is probably sufficient. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I'm gonna wipe it down a little bit cleaner, a little wax on, wax off kind of thing here. Get a little coat here. I just don't want this stuff to peel off, because that would not be good. The other thing is, you wipe this on real quick, you can kind of sight down the side of the car and see a reflection, but I don't even really see those spots. They're pretty minor, but I know they'll show up in a paint job. And all done and shiny, that will stand out. Okay, now, talk about body fillers. Now, this was more of an aggressive dent that you could feel. I'd probably go back with regular filler. This is pretty minor, so we're gonna use the old Z-Grip glaze coat. There's many manufacturers of this, many different people who make it, but it sands a lot easier. It's a lot smoother how it's mixed, so it spreads real even, less chance of little pockets. So since I'm hoping to get this done in one pass, I'm gonna use this. If I think I had to do 2 or 3 passes, I would probably start with regular body filler, then maybe jump to this. And I found my clipboard. So we're back in business. Someone gave me this idea, and I absolutely love it. It makes using the cardboard a lot better, because this is disposable. Whenever this gets nasty, just pitch it. Go eat some more daggum cereal, and then you get another one. So I'm gonna mix some of this up here and show you how to get this thing spread on. I've got made up a little more than I probably need for just this, but I'm gonna try to do the door at the same time. The downside of the garage being a little cooler is this stuff takes a little longer to set up. Same thing, you wanna knead this, not stir it necessarily, but kind of flip it and keep working the hardener into it without creating a lot of air pockets is the goal. Nice even color. It's got swirls in it. Still keep mixing it. And notice my large or fairly wide metal spreader. I really like them for this part of the job, because we're trying to put this on I mean, we get enough to fill in the spot that needs repaired, but I don't want to put it on so thick that I got to sand on it forever. Because our original goal to cover this all in epoxy is not to burn through our epoxy base coat. We're going to, but the goal is not to. So the less sanding, less odds of that happening. Man, that works so nice. Okay, now, the other thing is we've got ding, 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 ding down outside. If I try to fill just that one in, just that one in, that one in, that one in, I'm going to be chasing my tail. I'm going to try to focus on the bad spots, but by the time I'm done, it's going to be one almost nice, even layer in the affected area. It's going to help us when we go to sand it too. I'll go ahead and, again, we'll go on very thin. And here comes that argument. John, that probably would have filled in with some high build primer. And you're probably right. But I just don't trust high build primer to do body work with it. I just have nightmares of it cracking or shrinking or causing problems. So you can almost see through that, it's so thin. That's all that I'm going to need for this spot. Okay. Let that cure, and we'll come back and sand that. And this has had about 30 minutes to set up. That's the thing that kind of makes body work kind of challenging, because this stuff doesn't necessarily dry super fast, especially when it's cold out. So that's why you'll see me bouncing from side to side of the car. I'll work a spot, jump over there, work a spot. That way I can keep moving forward besides just waiting for this stuff to set up. Now that gets kind of confusing maybe, so shouldn't do that, but just saying that's what I was doing. So it did about 30 minutes. Longer is it tacky or sticky to the touch. If it's still sticky or you can feel it kind of being kind of tacky, don't sand it. Just plug up your sandpaper and make this thing virtually worthless. Now I've got my larger block again. I'm not using the linear block for this, but this is the old Dura block I've had for many years. This is 80 grit sandpaper. This is pretty coarse. It's going to cut this really fast. I'm only going to use this just to rough it in, because remember, these were low spots. So I only want to just kind of level things off. It's not going to clean up the edge all the way to feather it out, but I just want to use this and file it down quick so I can get to where I need to be without spending hours. And also the coarser the grit, it's going to level it off a lot quicker too. If you use like 320 or something like that, it may not, because like maybe my low spots in my putty, it may not level out. So I've learned this kind of the hard way. This is just my opinion. You might try this out. Hit it with some 80 grit, but again, we're not going to get our final shape because we don't use like a 220 grit or 320 grit to get our final shape. We'll only use this to take kind of the top layer of our putty off. We're going to, don't want to get all the way down to where I'm hitting the metal. The goal is not to break through the metal. We are, but the goal is not to. But say that we're going to follow the same X pattern. Kind of bring it this way, then working from our body line down and kind of blend that all out. Now you can see our first couple passes, high, low spot, low spot. All I'm going to try to do is get everything looking where it has at least a couple sand scratch marks in it. And the other thing I want to mention is the longer the block, the better. If I try just to sand only that one spot here, I'm going to leave a wave right here. Try sand this spot here in the middle, it's going to cut it out there. So the idea of all those little low spots, we're going to sand them all at the same time. Seems kind of confusing maybe, but it's going to work, I promise. There's the metal poking through. I need to stop sanding in that area. blob still here. Show you what that looks like. Now you saw I only did a few passes on. We're actually about to burn through the metal here, just poking through, getting a little close there. Not so much back here. But this isn't our finished sanding. It doesn't feel bad. It doesn't look horrible. Now I still got little lines here where the spreader separated it where I put each pass on. So what I'm going to do now though, because I think it helps out visually, I love this stuff. This is the dry coat, guide coat stuff instead of spray paint. You don't have to wait for it to dry. You just put it right on. And then once you're done putting it on, you sand it right back off. You don't have to wait for the paint to dry kind of thing. So this definitely speeds up the process. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to change up our 80 grit. I'm going to do 2 20s that we're going to jump to. As you can see, this is just a dirty job. Okay, same sanding pattern, but now we're going to sand till all of the black guide coat disappears. Let's do a couple of quick passes, and you'll see the contrast of where we need to keep sanding them. Okay, obviously there, you see the sand marks here. Those need to come out. This will all turn one almost even color, minus where the bare metal is. As you can see here, that's all turning that lighter gray. This is still showing up maybe a little bit low, and right there a little bit low. I may need one more pass of this really thin coat of filler. Okay, well, need to sand there a little bit more. Well, gonna need a little more here, definitely. I mean, it would probably come out with paint, but I don't like relying on paint to do that. And that one here, just the same. Let's get you up here real close. Now you can see there's still sand marks here. That's telling us that it's still kind of low because I didn't get the 80 grit out when I hit with the 220. Same as up here. That's actually kind of a low depression in here. That's metal poking through. That's not the end of the world because, well, I plan on coming back in a spot priming with epoxy where places I burn through. And I may go ahead and cover up the body filler if I put my high build on, but you get the idea. You can see this spot here. That's where it's actually low. Don't keep sanding because you got a high spot and a high spot. If I try to sand that out, I can make it disappear, but then I've just created a low spot again, and that will show up in our final paint job. So I need to mix up a tiny bit more body filler and touch it up here, and I also found two little microscopic little dings right there and there. You can see dark black. It's never been sanded. I don't know how I missed those. So while I mix things up, I've had 1, 2, 3 connected dots. That one got filled in. These two did not. So I need to mix up just enough to take care of those few little areas and then wait another daggum 30 minutes for it to set off. So I think in the meantime, I'll go back to working on sanding on the door. Those are the same thing, real thin coat. I've hit it with 80. Now I need to clean those up with 220, but I'll go ahead and mix up some more putty and let that cure while I'm working on this here. All right, so you get done spreading body with a quick little tip for you. See, I still have some residue. I wipe off most as I can. A little lacquer thinner or acetone, and you'll clean your spreaders right off. You can wipe this stuff right off of there. So quick little note in case you didn't know, I like reusing these metal spreaders, and the way to keep them working nice, just a little acetone, lacquer thinner, wipe it clean, ready for the next go. All right, second round of body filler is on. I'm gonna go ahead and block it again here, but I'm gonna just put this on there. And I got my little spots back here too. I remember to get those. There we go. Look at that. No more dark spot. Much better. There's a tiny one right here too. So 1, 2, 3, 4 little tiny dents. There you have it, right before your eyes. Now that spot's gone. Bare metal, bare metal, bare metal, bare metal. So the next step, go ahead and mix some daggum epoxy and cover up any bare metal spots. I said the goal was not to. I even told you in the beginning we probably would. That's just one of the side effects of doing it this way. Now you could probably skip the epoxy coat if this was not a car you're gonna drive. Let's say it was gonna spend all this time in the garage or in a trailer and not be driven. You could probably go right to a high build primer that's designed direct to metal, block it, seal it, and paint it. But I got this weird little feeling I want to put some epoxy on top of that bare metal. That's just how my brain is wired. So unfortunately, I gotta get the rest of the car to the 220 stage. Then I'll mix up one epoxy pass, coat the whole car with epoxy, and then while the epoxy is still in that window that I can top coat, go ahead and put my high build on so I don't have to scuff the entire car again. And then at that point, once that high build is cured, I can block it for the last time, hopefully. If not, it's okay. We can still put a little body filler in there and touch up our work. But if it's all good, we'll be going to paint. So that's the video here on our body working series on the Flame Lamborghini. I'm going to keep working on the rest of the car. I got a lot of square footage to get covered up or sanded out straight. So I'll be working these little fingers just a little bit longer, but hopefully I'll get that done. And of course, when I do, we'll grab the camera and show you that old epoxy coat thing and a high build thing. That's going to be our next video. So, and if you haven't seen the rest of the videos in this car build, go back to the beginning. Trust me, this thing was a hot mess. For those who know, let me know in the comments who haven't seen the videos how bad off this car really truly was. Most people would have ran and probably hid from this thing, but we're just about now to that point where it's going to have some shiny paint back on it. So you don't want to miss that. So please subscribe, share it with your friends, And we'll get the camera back out next run, and I hope to see you all then.